cities and northern towns. They come as teams to leave as champions. It's the California State Finals next on Time Warner. Tonight's playoff coverage from the campus of Concordia University in Irvine, California is presented by Farmers Insurance. It is the Division I State Final. The Northern champion, Palo Alto Vikings, taking on the Southern champion, the Marymount Sailors, for the California State Championship. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Concordia University. It's after 8 o'clock, so we relaxed the dress code a little bit. We lost the coats, but really it's because we're kind of tuckered out. The last two matches we've done have been, well, 5 setters. They've gone back and forth. They've been crammed with emotion, swings back and forth. We can't even stand up for this one. Division I final, we have Palo Alto and we have Marymount. Let's talk about the champions from last year, Palo Alto. They won the state championship. Palo Alto has never gone back-to-back state champions in any sport. Their head coach, Dave Wynn, he actually says this team, Dane, is better and more experienced and more mature than last year's. They're 35-3. They haven't dropped a set in the entire playoffs. 19 straight wins, and the star, and I know you want to talk about her, is Melanie Wade. She's 6'5", and she leads them in everything.
Yeah, she is a force to be reckoned with. She is the dominator, no question about it. At 6'5", she's a senior. She has the experience of last year, and that will be the biggest thing for Marymount, how they can slow her down. If they do slow her down, look for Maddie Coupe or Caroline Martin to step up. But that's the key for Marymount, to not let Madeline Wade take over early. No one really in this, in any of the games that they've played in, have been able to stop her or to even contain her. So she's going to get her kills. They just have to be okay with it.
And she's already signed the University of Washington. She's going to go play volleyball for Jim McLaughlin up on the Puget Sound. She's an All-American in high school, and she's going to be a great one in college. Meantime, for the Marymount Sailors, they are 33-4. They are the number 2 seed out of Southern California, and that is because they pulled the biggest upset of the playoffs by beating number 1 Los Alamitos. And actually, Los Alamitos was not only number 1 in California, some polls had them as the number 1 program in the country. Now you got to beat the best to be the best. They're the new number 1. Marymount is California's number 1 team. Tonight, they're going to have to prove it. Lanty Moy McLaren, 18 kills in the upset of Los Al.
Yeah, Lanty Moy McLaren, you can't say enough about her. She's the all-around player. 5'10", she's a senior. She's headed to Columbia University, so she's got a head on her shoulder, but she can do it all. And over the offseason, she worked extremely hard, working on her all-around skills, her backcourt presence. So now, not only is she a force at the net, she's a force in the backcourt. Look for her to make some spectacular defensive plays. Look for her to really bring this team to the next level. She is the key for Marymount.
And if she doesn't get enough attention, she's also wearing the unconventional number 59. 6 state titles for Marymount. The last was in 2006. But for Kerry Klein, their head coach, it's all new again, because these kids, this team, they've never tasted a state title.
Yes, they are looking to get into uncharted territory for them. They are going up against a Palo Alto team that has all the experience of being the defending champions. But for every player on that Marymount team, this is new territory for them. But it is not new territory for Kerry Klein, their coach. She has won 5 state championships. She's been there for 14 years, and she's really brought the program to another level. So it's going to be up to her leadership to really guide these players to a state championship if it's going to happen.
At the other end of the gym for Palo Alto, sitting relaxed like he's done this many, many times, Dave Wynn. His 6th season, he's won nearly 200 games. But how about this? They're the defending state champions, and over the last 3 seasons, this is the record for Palo Alto, 112-9. That is fantastic. And you know, Dave was talking about this team compared to last year's team, and he said last year was more of a what if and a could we team. And this year, it's all about how will we, and we can. He said they're much tougher this year mentally And as we mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, he thinks they're more experienced, that they're more mature, and that actually this is a better team than the team that won the state championship last year. So he's setting the bar pretty high for his kids.
Yeah, I could see that because some of these players, they're coming back. Once you've been there, it's fresh. It's in your head. You know what it takes to be a champion and to get to that final game and actually win. So you better believe those seniors on the team that won last year, they want to go out on top. They want to end their high school career as champions, and they've already had a taste of it. That is a bit of an advantage that Palo Alto has over Marymount.
Palo Alto has another advantage that none of the other teams at the state finals do, and that's that they didn't have to play a first-round game. They got a bye in the first round because the Oakland champ, Balboa, is a Division III team, so there's no opponent for them to play in the first round. So they got a bye. In the quarterfinals, they beat San Ramon Valley 3-0. Semifinals, Menlo Atherton 3-0. In fact, they had beaten Menlo Atherton 3 times on the year, and all were shutouts. For Marymount, they beat Granada Hills in the first round after losing the first set 3-1. Then they beat Newport Harbor. We saw Dan Glenn, the Newport Harbor coach, here earlier tonight. 3-2. They trailed 2-1. Came back and won the fourth set 26-24 and then closed it out. And then after losing the first set to #1 Los Alamitos, they came back and won again. So the overlying theme for Marymount is that they've fallen behind in each of their matches, but the epilogue is that each of those matches, they have rallied, pulled themselves together, and walked out victorious.
Yeah, I think the biggest one was that 7-3 deficit in the Corona Del Mar game in the CIF Finals, where they just really have learned to come back, and that may be an advantage for Marymount. They have been tested. Palo Alto has not been tested. They've just been going straight through. Like you said, they had a bye early, and then 3-0, 3-0. They're just cruising. This might be their biggest challenge just yet.
For Palo Alto, they come in 35-3. Who are the 3 losses? Well, they lost to Santa Barbara, they lost to Dos Pueblos, who's ranked 17th in the country, and they lost to the 10th ranked team in the country, St. Francis. Those are their only losses on the entire year. For Marymount, they actually lost to Los Alamitos early in the year. They lost to St. Francis as well. They lost to Mater Dei. They lost to Redondo Union, and they too lost to Dos Pueblos. So there's a couple of common opponents here. But all of that is behind us. That's in the wake, because now we're going to play for a state championship, and these are the only 2 standing in Division I. In fact, this is the last volleyball match for the high school year anywhere in the state of California. Palo Alto, of course, wearing the greens, and their nickname is just Pally. That's what the kids call themselves, so we'll call them that too. So it's Pally on one side, and in the red, white, and blue, it's the Sailors of Marymount. Marymount High School is on Sunset Boulevard, just north of UCLA. Beautiful school in a great area. Palo Alto High School is right across the street from Stanford. In fact, if you've ever been to a football game at Stanford, you can look over the rim of the stadium and look into the senior parking lot at Palo Alto. Vikings get out early. It's 2-0.
Right out of the gate, you're seeing Palo Alto set the outside, really establish that outside hit, and we're getting our first glimpse.
Jackie Koenig with a serve.
I was going to say, we got our first glimpse earlier of Melanie Wade hit the ball at 6'5". As they have said, she is hard to stop. No one has been able to. It'll be interesting how Marymount plays defense against her.
Koenig back to the service line with a 3-0 advantage early on in first set. Division I state championship, Jim Watson, Olympic gold medalist Dane Blanton courtside. Cross-court cutter, and that's dug nicely by Caroline Martin. And it's 4-0 Palo Alto. Oh, it's a dream start for the Vikings.
Yeah, you don't want these Vikings to get on too hot of a streak too early and run away with this first set. If you're Marymount, you want to settle down, serve, receive well, and put the ball away. Get that first point on the board.
Off the block of Palo Alto. Nice cover. That was Christine Irvin. A nice play there for Marymount, but it's not enough to win a point. It's a skunk, 5-0. Yasmin Bidat Ghani, one of the stars for Marymount. They just call her Yazzie. Off the high hands, they tried to feed Ashley Williams right down the middle. The opposite 15, that's Maddie Coopy, 6'2" senior, their leading hitter, averages just under 4 kills a game. And how about it? A 6-0 start, and maybe that's why Dave Wynn was looking so relaxed over on the bench. He knows how good his club is.
He was relaxed, he was poised, he had the confidence, and you're seeing why. Palo Alto, the defending state champions, coming out and showing that they have been here before, really taking control right out of the gate, and Marymount has not had an answer just yet. Carrie Klein forced to call a timeout early to try to settle down her players to get them to playing to the capabilities that they know they're able to do so. We haven't seen anything out of them just yet, trailing 6-0.
Yeah, I'm watching the setter for Marymount, and that's Lauren Greskovich Fuller. And you know, at this point, she has her best hitter, Lanty Moy McLaren, in the back row, so she's trying to spread things around a little bit. But I'll tell you what, Marymount's not reacting to her. She's moving the ball around. Everybody seems a step slow. It's like they're waiting for something to happen, and it's all happening on the green side of the net right now. 6-0 Palo Alto in the first set. There's the back set, and that was better play. Manon Greskovich Fuller from Lauren Greskovich Fuller. Yes, twins. In fact, both teams have twins. It's the Owens for Palo Alto, Savannah and Haley. But it's the Greskovich Fullers for Marymount. There's Melanie Wade, 3 kills already. 7-1.
That's an extremely sharp angle, and when you're 6'5", you jump well, you're able to open up the court to places that normal players cannot usually hit.
Williams right down the middle, but it was a little bit out of her reach. She didn't get a lot on it. Almost an overpass. Moy McLaren there, watching it roll down the tape, and Williams can't get to it.
Well, we're seeing right out of the gate why Melanie Wade is so hard to defend against. They have a nice block up against her. Here you see she comes around the backside, tips it, but so hard to read when she's reaching so high up in the air.
8-1 Palo Alto. Shelby Knowles, a good cover there, the libero for Palo Alto. Moy McLaren, cross-court winner. Now they're going to need a lot of that tonight. As we mentioned, she had 18 kills in the upset of #1 Los Alamitos. Now Marymount is the new #1.
Moy McLaren, she's the go-to. She has a bit of a stress fracture in that left foot that she's been playing with for a while, but she's been able to overcome it.
Those stress fractures, the only way they heal is to stay off them. You can't do that when you're pursuing a state championship. Now, Palo Alto converts so quickly from defense to offense. The transition is blinding.
And they're so powerful. It's not only quick, but that ball's coming down with a lot of force, a lot of power.
Melanie Wade, most of the experts will tell you she's the best player on the court tonight, so to keep an eye on number 19.
Not the start Marymount wanted. 9-2, Palo Alto showing why they are so dominant.
And trying to go early was Kimmy Whitson, the setter. She went with the left, but missed long on that one. You know, this is a special group at Palo Alto. In 2009, they won 36 matches. In 2010, 41. And now they're sitting on 35. Those are lofty numbers, and as I mentioned, over 3 years, 112-9.
Well, she's showing that she can do it in the front row, do it in the back row. It's just pretty amazing what we're seeing out of Melanie Wade right out of the gate. She's dominating, and Marymount at this point doesn't have an answer.
6 kills for Melanie Wade already. She's on pace for 50. And a block. That was Coopy and Koenig. A little bluff there, a little deke in the middle. They dummied it, and go to Moy McLaren outside. She hit it right into the net.
Yeah, I talked to Moy McLaren at practice the other day, and not only does she have that stress fracture, she got elbowed in the chest, so she has something going on with a rib as well. So she's kind of banged up coming into this final. Not exactly how you'd want to be, but she's a tough kid.
Katie Edwards. Katie Edwards is 6'2", tallest player, with the exception of probably, I guess, Yazzie Badat Ghani is just a little bit taller. We'll call her 6'3", so those are the two biggest players on the Marymount roster. Yeah, they list Yazzie at 6'3", but in warm-ups, they're standing side by side. They're about the same height. No long rallies for Palo Alto. They just go for the throat right away.
They really do. It's they just try to end that rally as quick as possible, and that's what you're supposed to do, but you usually don't see it as effectively that they're doing it right now.
Outside set. Manon, Krasovich, Fuller.
Yeah, Manon Greskovich-Fuller, she was committed to Santa Clara, but they decommitted. They were going to go there as sisters. She's now headed to the University of Virginia.
Going to play with, who did we see in the last match that's going there? Natalie Bosbach.
Yeah.
Natalie's
Bosbach, yeah, you're right. Manon said that she just wanted to get out of California. That was her reason, you know, experience a little more.
Bausbach, by the way, Natalie Bausbach playing for La Costa Canyon tonight. They came up short in their final against Presentation from San Jose in 5. Those two will be teammates in college. Off the hands, and a nice dig in the back row. Moy McLaren. We've seen her all over the court already. Koopy tips it across. And Koopy got part of that block. Back set, not a pretty play, but it's going to work for Palo Alto. And they kind of laugh about it. Caroline Martin ends up with a kill, but it was more of an awkward shot, just pushing it across the net.
One of the longest rallies we've seen, and of course, Melanie Wade not terminating it. If they go to her, it seems like it ends very quickly.
Greskovich-Fuller had it back up, and all she could do was try to tip it across. The Marymount setter really ran out of options right there.
There was just too much heat on that ball hit by Melanie Wade, unable to be controlled and kept on the same side.
Lauren Greskovich-Fuller, the setter for Marymount, is 6 feet tall. Wade, 7 kills. 15-7.
I don't know what to say about Melanie Wade. Just a dominant force. And in the backcourt, Maddie Koopy playing some great defense at 6'2". How about that? Seems like every player on Palo Alto is really, they've come to play. They're well-rounded. You see the 6'2" Maddie Koopy in the backcourt. She's a great defender and passes the ball with great accuracy.
You know what they look like? They look like they couldn't wait to play, that they were so anxious to play in the state final. Now, everybody is, but most everybody shows up nervous. Palo Alto looks like they're having a good time. There, Marymount is able to break through for a point, but it's still 8 serving 16. You expect Ashley Williams to get a lot of looks down the middle, wearing number 15 for Marymount. Moy McLaren, we've already seen her. Her number's going to be called all night long. And then you have a couple of Greskovich-Fullers. Manon and her sister, the setter, Lauren. Koenig again back at the service line for Pally. Greskovich-Fuller sets Moy McLaren. Sounds like I'm calling a hockey game.
Moy McLaren can hit just about anywhere on the court. That was a nice pipe set right in the middle.
It falls.
Whitson blocked McLaren, but Marymount able to keep it alive and put it down. They're starting to play a little bit better than we saw at the start of this first set. Definitely not playing quite to their potential quite yet.
Coopy out of the back row, misses wide. Landed right at the feet of Kerry Klein, head coach of Marymount. Has over 200 victories. A packed house on both sides of the gym, as you might expect. Dave Wynn for Palo Alto at the other end. Wade, and a double hit on Kimmy Whitson. They got her for a lift. And Palo Alto better be careful right here not to let Marymount back in. As I told you, Marymount has made a habit out of falling behind and coming back to win.
Well, then Marymount's starting to settle in. Anytime you haven't played at this level in this type of an arena where it's so heightened, the state championship, it's the last game of the year. Sometimes you tighten up, and it might take a set for Marymount to settle in and start playing to their potential.
And it's funny you say that because Kerry Klein, their head coach, when I was talking to her, I said, how'd you beat Los Alamitos? And she said, we settled down. And it's because they lost the first set. They weren't passing well, a little too excited. After they lost that first game, they calmed down, and then they swept the next 3 games to take down the #1 plate. And now they're wearing it. But you know, people always say it's easier to get to the top than stay at the top. So now Marymount is the target. Yasmin Badadkani, Yazzie.
Yeah, she's going to be quite the player. She's only a freshman. She's 6'3", hits the ball fairly high, and she's raw. She's still learning the game. She's got so much upside.
Yeah, you can see that she's just going to keep polishing that game. And she's a freshman, so what, 15 years old? As Wade ran a little slide to her through the middle.
Yeah, just like you said, a freshman, maybe 15 years old. Her best attribute is her blocking. She's blocked some of the other stars on the team and really changes the game at the net. And her hitting has come along.
There's Wade. Wade's a great server as well. She leads her team with 64 aces. 64. That's a huge number in high school. Whitson didn't realize she was that far off the net, but you're a setter. You got to know exactly where you are and know where the other guys are too.
Yeah, you have to be aware of where everyone is out on that court. And that right there, it was a very good deceptive play, but she wasn't aware of where that net exactly was.
Victoria Shepard to serve. There's Whitson. Nice ball. Coopy. Backs up this time to Wade out of the back row. Off the hands of Edwards. Wade's got a bump set it. Coopy. Dug in the back row. Lauren McLaren. And she's dug. Shelby Knowles. Down the line and out. Just missed. Katie Edwards.
It's a good try going down the line, trying to get outside of Maddie Coopy. But Coopy, she's all over the court. Either she's playing defense or she's at the net, but very active, always moving on her feet.
That's out. Keeping notes, Dave Wynn. Lantine Boyd McLaren to the service line. 5'10" senior, special player, and as Danny's pointed out, playing through some pain. Stress fracture in the foot, bit of a rib problem. Nobody cares tonight. It's the state final. Players sit. Dug nicely by Knowles and kept out of the net by Koenig. Crossed by Whitson. Dug again in the back row. That's out. So it was the defensive effort by Knowles, by Caroline Martin in the back row for Palo Alto that made that point possible.
And then Maddie Coupe putting it away once again off the block, just out of bounds. Very fortunate bounce, 2 inches wide.
That's in. Alto closing in on a first set victory. 23-15. Shelby Knowles looking to close it out from the service line. Kreskovich, Fuller. To Lansing Moy McLaren coming right down Main Street.
Now this Marymount team is very well balanced. Of course, Moy McLaren is their star, but they have so many role players that are strong. Manon has a huge arm on that outside, swinging with a lot of power, but they're going to all have to play if they're going to take down Palo Alto.
Back set to Koenig, but right into the block. Williams was there.
Manon, Kreskovich, Fuller on that left side, teaming up on that block.
Not a good serve.
Set point, Vikings serve to 17. Maddie Coupe then serve.
Maddie Coupe's got a tough jump float serve, and there it is, right there, right down the middle. Moy McLaren just can't handle it.
25-17, Palo Alto made that one look easy. Now, we're going to need to see a better effort from Marymount. They just got left in the blocks, and the hole was too deep to dig their way out of. Palo Alto takes the first set in the Division I final.
Time for a Mancini Sleep World Sports Flash.
Raiders linebacker